This is a video about the newest Age of Sigmar Warhammer tournament lists from January 2021, including Lumineth and Sons of Behemat. Good morning, this is Chris speaking, 60 Goblins and 1 Brush, and today I want to talk about the newest Age of Sigmar Warhammer tournament list with the Winrates, which is the strongest army right now, January 2021. Thank you for the Spanish colleague who collected this data, and thanks to my Lumineth Elven specialist from Korea who sent me this list. Some months ago I looked at the last 2020 release list and there were no Lumineth and Sons of Behemat included. Now they are. Let's have a look. Just as with the last list, I have to say that this list also reflects a lot how much one army has been played. So armies like Seraphon, KO, Ossiarch Bone Reapers, Stormcast Eternals, Disciples of Thanx, they're very popular. They get played very, very often. So they also rank higher. Also, I have no additional data about how much it plays a role if you win by a minor or major victory and so on. So according to this list, the top 10 are Seraphon, Kharadron Overlords, Ogre Mawtribes, Ossiarch Bone Reapers, Stormcast Eternals, Disciples of Thanx, Eidolon the Deepkin, Cities of Sigmar, Fire Slayers, and Blaze of Khorne. Also, you have to take into account that this is not the whole army that is that strong. Those are professional tournament players who have fine-tuned their lists on basically the rules gaps that allows to play a certain aspect of a battle tome in an overpowered way, including sub-factions, war scroll battalions, and so on. When I looked at this list, I wasn't happy with at least two things. One was the Stormcast Eternals on place 5. This seems very unrealistic to me. Even if they got cheaper, I'm sure I can wipe out any Stormcast Eternal army with my Lumineth army any day, easily. This is a challenge. Challenge any one of you to play with your Stormcast Eternals army against my Lumineth. And the second thing, of course, Lumineth on place 15, rank 15. That cannot be. Lumineth are very difficult to play. You have to take care of the synergies and that you don't forget any rules, and then they're really powerful. If you forget stuff, it's just with the KO. If you forget stuff, you're screwed. And the losers, so to say, of this list are Legions of Nagash, Daughters of Cain, Ironjaws, Nighthorn, Sylvaneth, Beasts of Chaos, Bone Splitters, Sons of Behemat, Legions of the Chaos Ascendant, Legions of Asgore, and Order Grand Alliance. But now I would like to have a look at only the win rates, without these meta percentages, without how often they have been played, these armies, because it ranges wildly between 6 and 330 games. So for example, Ogre Mawtribes, Stormcast Eternals, and Kharadron Overlords have been played more than 300 games, and the Lumineth 153 games, and Sons of Behemat only 33 games. Well, if you look at the win rates alone, I think you can discriminate between 3 different kinds of groups. Above 50% win rate, between 40 and 50% win rate, and below 40% win rate. Because there's no one who wins more often than 60%. So even the great winners like Seraphon, Kharadron Overlords, they almost lose every second game. That's a 50, 57. So for the first group, above 50% win rate, or between 50 and 60, because there's no one above 60, you get a very different picture. Namely, Chaos Ascendant number 1 with 60%. Then Kharadron Overlords, Thanx, Seraphon, Daughters of Cain, almost same strength. And Fire Slayers, Sons of Behemat, this time on rank 7. Idoneth, Deepkin, Flesh Eater Codes, and Slaanesh also almost equal strength, followed by exactly 50% Orgrimmar tribes and the Great War. So the only army that is still where it was before is Keratin Overlords on rank 2. And next we have armies below 50% win rate, but at least 40%. Which are Cities of Sigmar, Ossiarch, Bone Reapers, Lumineth, Skaven, Slaves to Darkness, Khorne, Legions of Nagash, Nurgle, Stormcast, Bone Splitters, and Ironjaws. Cities of Sigmar and Ossiarch Bone Reapers are very strong. Lumineth, in my view, as well. The others are middle field, I would also concur. And then lastly, the ones below 40%, between 30 and 40% win rate, which are Beasts of Chaos, Nighthaunt, Gloomspite Kid, Sylvaneth, Order Grand Alliance, Mixed, and Legions of Asgore, which are the Chaos Dwarfs. These, I would also concur, are not strong armies, especially Sylvaneth is super weak. Usually it's not worth it to play Grand Alliance rules, and Legions of Asgore, this is like Khemri, these are not armies that are maintained rules-wise. So in the upper third, above 50%, for me, the only surprise is that the Chaos Ascendant is so successful. Chaos Ascendant is place 1. That's a surprise. All the others are super strong armies. Then Sons of Behemat also seems to be a strong army, not a weak army. That's also a surprise. And what's missing is Lumineth, Bone Reapers, and Cities of Sigmar. They could well be in the upper middle, but to my experience, these are very, very strong armies. Same goes for Great War and Orgrimmar tribes. Great War is one of the most powerful if you play it right. I think just with the Lumineth, there are too many mistakes happening here. Otherwise, they would be much further on top. No surprise here is KO, Tzeentch, Seraphon, Fire Slayers. They're on all lists, I think, on top. And I agree, they're very powerful armies. We see them on all lists on top. KO because of the firepower and the mobility, but they're very bad in melee. Seraphon, they're very versatile. You can play them as a horde army, as a very strong fighter army, or as a very strong magic army. I'm glad they turned out to be strong, because the first glance on the new battle tome was that they're weak, but they're not. Tzeentch, we have the Eternal Conflagration, which is very tough. You can play it very, very magic heavy with summoning Lords of Changes, or recently I played against my friend Franz, and he had an army with all flying, 16-inch movement, enlightened, and the Skyfires and Screamers and so on, also very, very intimidating, and he completely destroyed my KO army. And Fire Slayers, they have a huge wound output and they can take a lot of damage. They're just a little bit slow, but otherwise there's nothing you can do wrong with them. They're very easy to play. Middle class, as I said, I think Lumineth, Cities of Sigmar, and Bone Reapers are very high up on the scale. The only surprise here is Nurgle and Stormcast Eternals, which for me are weak armies. But at least according to this reckoning, now they're not in the upper third anymore, where they really do not belong. Stormcast, you need a lot of luck with Stormcast. You can play shooty armies or monstrous cavalry armies, but they have very few attacks, and a lot of D3 and D6 to roll, and honor 6 something happens. So if you're really lucky with your dice, okay. Otherwise, no. Like the Celesta Ballistas, for example, you can do 20 damage or you can do no damage easily. While with the Lumineth, you have a mortal wounds output of 5 up. So a third of all your rolls is immediately mortal wounds. That's really untoppable. And Nurgle, in my last video, some of you disagreed that Nurgle is a weak army. It's not super weak, yeah, but it's not strong. It's not a top 10 army. If you only play Nurgle units from the Nurgle book. If you mix it with Slaves to Darkness, then it gets stronger. But then for me, it's not a Nurgle army anymore. Then it's a Slaves to Darkness army. And then Iron Jaws and Bone Splitters, that could actually really be that they're middle class armies. They're not as strong as Great War, and especially the Bone Splitters, they're a bit weak. They could have made them stronger. There are ways to play them, but against a few armies they're okay, but otherwise, And then the lower third, actually no surprises. It's sad that the Nighthaunt and the Gloomspite kids, who are some of the most beautiful and the most fun armies to play, are not so powerful. I think they need to be strengthened. I made some videos recently about the rules updates for the Squigs, the Troggoths, and also the Spider Riders. So let's see if that does something. So if you only go for the win rate, you come to a more realistic list, I think. Some will stay at the top like Seraphon and KO. Others will leave the top like Stormcast Eternals. Others will join the top. I think the Lumineth are definitely a top 10 army. Nurgle. Yeah. I really want to see a strong Nurgle army with only units from the Nurgle book. Please write that in the comments if you know about such an army. Also Stormcast Eternals army. I would like to know what is a strong Stormcast Eternals army that really works. And then we will get new Hedonites of Slanesh rules and units. We will get new Lumineth units. We will get new Daughters of Cain rules. And who knows, maybe some new units. That will make a change for sure. Beasts of Chaos, Nighthaunt, they definitely have to be strengthened. Sylvaneth is completely laughable presently, which is very sad because they're also a very beautiful army. The two very pleasing surprises are that the Sons of Behemat are actually quite good, above 50%, 54%. Unfortunately, we haven't tried them out yet. They're quite on top of our list. We have played KO a lot recently. And Lumineth, of course. Trying to find ways to break them. I will break him. And if you have any ideas how to beat a Lumineth army, please tell me. Because we haven't really found a way yet. And the other thing is this Chaos Ascendant army with Be'lakor and stuff. That's really funny. That this can be a very powerful army. This goes to show that choose the army you really want to play that pleases you fluff-wise and aesthetically. And then you can find a way to play most armies really well. There are some armies that have an inbuilt advantage or disadvantage, and I think this is on purpose. Like armies that are published new, they want to sell them. So usually armies that get published are quite strong until about a year later when they get nerfed. Which is time for the Seraphon, for example. The Seraphon have turned out to be a really strong army. They came out about 1 year ago, so it's time to nerf them a little bit maybe. My personal two top armies are Lumineth and Orgrimmar tribes, which we still have to pit against each other. I'm probably not a specialist or expert in any one army, but I am an expert in playing all armies. I've played all armies, I think, except Skaven, Legions of Asgore, and Chaos Ascendant with AOS rules. Yeah, and Khemri. I haven't played Khemri with AOS rules either. I think KO are strong, but they are beatable. And Seraphon, I still have to try out more to say more about it. Which I will do soon, either Seraphon or the new Idoneth rules. I mean, the Idoneth changes in the Morathi book that are also very interesting. So please tell me in the comments below which are your favorite armies, which are the strongest armies you know, either from playing them or from playing against them. And if you agree with the first list or with the second list only according to win rates, if you think that Stormcast and Nurgle, for example, are strong armies or weak armies, especially if you think that the Lumineth are middle class army or a top 10 or even top 3 or top 5 army. And please understand, if I say something is a strong army or a weak army, it doesn't mean that I like it better or that I don't like it. It's just my experience playing them and playing against them. I really like Stormcast and Nurgle. I would like them to be strong armies. So leave your opinions and experiences below. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And thank you for joining me on Patreon or sharing the videos with your friends, and see you soon. And if you give examples of strong armies or why armies are strong, please give examples of lists, how you make them strong.